Treetop Flyer. What about asking questions? He's like, I can't think of one, man, but I love your channel. I love the comments. Sometimes they're just so funny. Just, you know. Here we are again, part 2. Questions and answers. I'm going to pay more attention to keeping my mask on this time, guys. I apologize to anybody who was offended that I didn't have my mask securely on all the time. What I do is when I'm far away from people, you know, I feel like I can do this just to speak to you. Otherwise it's going to be all muffled. Or is it the same? Can you hear me anyway? I guess you can. And when I'm around people, I get on the boat or I go into a store, obviously I'm pretty strict about that. Somebody was asking me, am I an anti-masker? Christ. No. Not even remotely close. I have a deep respect for science and medicine. I have zero, but I mean zero, time for people who reject medicine, you know, anti-vaxxers and so on. You're holding the world back. We don't have any time for that. There's 2 types of people in the world: the people bringing humanity forward and the people who are dead weight on our legs as we try, and anti-maskers, etc. Long list. Flat earthers. I put you all in the same basket, unfortunately. I actually lived with a doctor for 2 years, a high-level doctor, oncologist, and it is quite an education. It's basically, you bring your car to the mechanic. If there's something wrong with it, you bring your watch to the watch bender. You know, you bring your computer to the Geek Squad or whatever your version is, your local version of that is. When something's not working on your machine. But for some reason, the people who studied for years and years with, you know, studying collected information over hundreds of years and broke their left testicle learning how the human body works, they don't get the respect. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Oh dear Lord. And, you know, it always makes me chuckle at people who don't believe in science write a comment about that from a handheld microprocessor computer in their hand, speaking to a satellite orbiting the Earth, but they don't believe in science. Love it. Love it. So no, I'm not an anti-masker, anything but. I'm just trying, when I'm shooting this video, talking to you guys, to kind of, I keep an eye out. But, you know, you're right. I was passing some people on the street in the last video and I had the mask down. Please forgive me. If you'll remember, Italy was one of the first countries to be hit by this stuff. Remember that? Seems like 1,000 centuries ago now, doesn't it? I mean, we were on the news every day, like we were the first kind of Western country to be hit, and we went into hard lockdown here, guys. Hard. Like proper stuff. None of this, oh, my rights, and you can't tell me to put on a mask. No. They don't do that shit here. You refuse to put on your mask, they will... Yeah, especially during hard lockdown, red zone as they call it here, you'll wind up with a boot on your head and a machine gun pointed at you. Are you kidding me? And a huge fine. They'll fine your ass. So yeah, we know how to deal with it. The Italians have been very good with this kind of stuff. It's an emergency, and it requires emergency behavior, you know. If a building was on fire and the fire department arrived and told everybody to run out the door, you'd comply, right? Because it's an emergency. And just because this emergency is a tiny microscopic thing, you don't feel like... I don't know. Didn't you see War of the Worlds? Didn't you see what happened at the end? What took out these terrible aliens that were basically eviscerating humanity with their laser beams? What took them out in the end? If you haven't seen or read War of the Worlds, go and do it now. Doesn't matter that it's microscopic, it is deadly, and it's killing a lot of people. Anyway, get me into a tirade here. I haven't even started the video yet. The question and answers. I realized that I ramble terribly, guys. It's an Irish problem. I rambled too much in the last video. I only answered like 4 questions in an hour. So let me try and make a better effort this time. Especially my patrons, all the guys on Patreon, guys and gals. You're the most important ones to me, and I didn't even get to your questions. So now I'm going to get through them, okay? So sorry, guys. Carrie, your hair always looks great. Great. We're starting on a good one here. Real watch channel stuff. Your hair always looks great in your videos. Come on. I assume you're joking. It's a mess. Do you style it or wake up like that? Come on. My hair has a mind of its own. Sometimes I take photos of it going, what does it think it is today? Like a Turner painting of a tempest at sea or something? Like it's wild. There are some who say that actually the hair is not growing out of my head, but I'm growing out of it. And that when someday I drop dead, the hair will just go, okay, and then walk off and jump on somebody else's head. It has a personality of its own. Honestly, I don't cut it. I mean, I cut it. I don't get it cut. I don't go to a what's it called? A hairdresser. I even forgot the name of it. I just see a bit that sticks out in the mirror and I cut it off. I've been doing that for years. Ben Hoog is in. 2 questions. All right, man. You're a patron, so absolutely. What do you think of Grand Seiko? I think they're amazing. That's a question. That's probably one of my most asked questions. I love them. I think they're great. Am I going to do a review? No, not until I have one. How could I do a thing on Grand Seiko if I don't own one or have one at least for a spell? But I think they're amazing. They're probably some of the most advanced, incredible watches out there. That whole spring drive thing is incredible. But I am aware that there is a rivalry between Grand Seiko and Rolex. I would say more the Grand Seiko guys just hating on Rolex. I don't think Rolex people hate on... It doesn't happen in the other direction. You know, it happens with the Grand Seiko guys hating, you know. But I don't see a reason not to have both and to love both. If you had a specific budget, would you rather buy the top of the line model of a lesser brand or the entry level of a superior brand? That's interesting. I.e., would you buy an entry-level Aquanaut? Yes. Or a top-of-the-line white gold-blue dial Daytona? Or more in my price range, the top-of-the-line Hamilton or entry-level Seiko? God, that's a really good question. I think entry-level because... Yes, like a beautiful gold Daytona, fantastic. But yes, I mean, once you step into Patek world, whole other beast. I would say, yeah, go for the best possible brand, even if you're only going in at entry level. A lot of people do that with Rolex, for example. They get the Oyster Perpetual as their first And it doesn't matter if it's not the most expensive Rolex or not the most famous, you still have a Rolex on your wrist, right? Paul Walker. I'm picking up a couple of watches in the new year for my AD, Rolex and Tudor. Very nice. I was wondering, should I take a gift? Oh, to the AD? Is this something you've done in the past? And if so, what gifts have you given? I was thinking of a nice bottle of wine, but I'm not exactly a connoisseur. Yes, bring a gift, especially if it's a piece, a weightless piece, like a hard to get piece that they could be giving to someone else, but they're giving to you. I did that last time I did it. I was getting a no date sub from my AD, and I said, hey, look, I'll bring along the money, or I'll have the money in the correct accounts on Friday. I'll come back and pick it up then. Do you want me to give you like $1,000 now just to hang on to it? They were like, no, they don't take deposits. They're like, it's very gentleman's agreement stuff. So all we need is your word that you want it, you know, just give us the nod and we'll hold it for you, don't worry. So when I came back in on the Friday to pick it up, I brought a bottle of Johnny Walker Green, because of course, you know, Rolex Green, all that. And the thing about a wine is, wine has to be, once you open it, you have to drink it, right? So are you giving the bottle to the whole staff together, or just one specific guy in your AD who takes care of you? Because if that's the case, okay, he can bring it home, he can open it with the wife. But if you're giving it to the kind of 2 or 3 staff or whoever's there, you want to hope that they actually like each other, you know, because they have to open it together and drink it together. So you're going to have to give it to them on a Friday evening, or, you know, it's the same with bubbly. Whereas a whiskey will sit, they can open a little, they can even open it right there and have one together and with you, and then stick it away in a press for the next time, or maybe use it for another client who's in there or something. So yes, I think it's something you should do. You have to remember that you're wandering into the world of luxury. I mean, maybe that's not your world. It probably isn't. For some people, they just live in that world. They're always in first class. They're always buying expensive stuff. They have platinum cards and black cards and so on in their wallet. But for a lot of us, going into a Rolex AD or any high-end AD like that is a little bit of an adventure, you know. But you should behave accordingly. You should behave like rich gentlemen. You know, rich gentlemen do this. Quite often they get into a conversation, they take off their cufflinks and go, hey, there's a gift, you know, or whatever. It's real wealthy world stuff. I'm thinking of that scene in Eyes Wide Shut, the Stanley Kubrick film with Tom Cruise, and there's a scene with Sidney Pollack where, I mean, Cruise's character is a very wealthy doctor who lives on Central Park West, New York, and he goes over to Pollack's house, which is even more spectacular than his. It's probably on Riverside Drive or somewhere. Insanely wealthy dude, and they're in the billiards room, and there's kind of an awkward conversation, but to just break the ice, Cruise says, oh, that was very nice whiskey, Scotch, you know, you offered me the other night at the party. And Pollack's character says, oh, the 25-year-old, oh, I'll send you over a case. And he's like, no. Oh, I'll send it. No, thanks. Oh. And you're just like, he's going to send him over a case of 25-year-old Scotch. I don't know what it was. Macallan 25 is about $3,000. getting a case sent to your house. This is real, it's real wealthy man stuff. So when I bring bottles into an AD, they don't like jump out of their pants with excitement. They go, oh, thanks very much. And it's all part of the, look, you don't have to do it. But hey, if they're giving you, by the way, what am I wearing? Forgot about that. If they're giving you this, the new 41mm Submariner, when they could be giving it to 1,000 other guys, but they're giving it to you. Also, don't skimp on the bottle. Don't buy like a $3 bottle of plunk, you know, from what is it, Trader Joe's, right? They sell those. If it's okay, I'll give you a quick list. I don't know. You want to buy bubbly, buy Vintage Krug, or Dom Perignon, or Cristal. On the lower end, there's the regular Roderer, there's the Bollinger, Moet et Chandon. Vintage champagne means it's all from one year, one harvest. That's what it means. It has one vintage. A lot of the champagnes you consume are actually a blend of the year previous and the year itself and then the year after. Vintage just means it's all from one, and it normally means it's higher quality. It's a bit like single malt Scotch. Speaking of Scotch, I mean, Johnny Walker is great. It's a blend. All the purists are going to freak out right now. But Johnny Walker's great. I mean, get the don't get the red. It's really bad. Get the blue. If you're getting a really amazing watch, get a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue for them, or the green, because it, you know, matches with Rolex and all that. If you're going Irish whiskey, which I always recommend when I can, which are blends, by the way. Most Irish whiskies are blends. Nothing wrong with that at all. Actually, the art of blending is an art of masters. You want to start with at least a crested 10. It's 10-year-old. Redbreast 12 and up. Don't get the 15. It's weird. Get the 21 if you want to spend more money. Middleton, one of the great Irish whiskies. That's the one that comes in a lovely wooden box. Looks very fancy. This is my bus stop here for the 6. It's amazing because they put in these new stoppers there that make no sound at all. And before they did that, this thing just squeaked and squeaked. Just constantly from the movement, constant squeaking. And I thought, whoever lives right here must be losing their minds. In fact, I don't even think anyone lives there. And here is just a church. But now it's, look at that system they have there. It's completely silent. It's just rubber. Herb Maynard. Do you think two-tone watches, especially Submariner, will go up in demand and popularity? Now I hope they won't, because I just got rid of my two-tones. So no, I love two-tone, especially with such a long wait list for steel models. Two-tones are pretty solid. I don't know if they go up. They kind of hold their own. Maybe drop by a little bit. If you're getting a two-tone, let's say the Bluesy, right? Probably one of the most famous two-tone watches out there. Just checking for people because, you know, the mask thing. Yes, if you're getting that watch is what, 13.7 in euros, which is, I don't know, 15.5 in the US of A. Get $1,000 off, or get $500 off. Get a little bit of a discount, and then your watch will just hold its value from there. That's how it works with the two tones. They just drop a little bit the second you walk out the door, but not much. Going up and being kind of appreciating watches that appreciate, that's not happening yet. Hey, if it happens, you can thank me, because I've done everything I possibly can on my channel to promote Two Tone. I love Two Tone. I have no issue with Two Tone. And of course, my Daytona, which I absolutely adore, is a Two Tone. And what is your take on Vacheron Constantine? And why do they not seem to get the same attention as AP or Pt.2? Well, a lot of the attention that Pt.2 and AP are getting are what I would call a kind of a lowbrow crowd. Like, which watches in Pt.2 are getting the attention? It's the Aquanaut and the Nautilus. And they're kind of space-aged looking, futuristic kind of watches. I don't see people lining up to get Calatravas. I don't see that happening. I don't see rappers wearing Calatravas. Some of you are going to hate me for this, but it's the truth. What happens is some rapper says, I got my Pt.2, and all of their listeners Google that to see what the hell that is, and then they all start wanting it. And it's the same with AP. Like, those big offshores are going now. Like, everybody wants that. The Miami crowd, the nightclubbers want the offshore. You know, they're not going after the more delicate, the original Gerald Genta, you know, the 15400 and so on. They're not going after that stuff. Vacheron, other than, what is it, the overseas? Other than that, Vacherons are still in the classic world. Those incredibly expensive ones I tried on last year that I made a video on, 150 grand worth or whatever. They're beautiful classic timepieces. There's something old looking about them. That's why Vacheron aren't maybe the overseas is their attempt to attract that other crowd. New money. You know? All they need is for some rapper or someone to write a song called Vacheron Constantine, and boom. And they better have the watch, probably the overseas. They better have the watch to back that up. John Viano. Cool name, man. Viano. Hi Shane, I'm like you in that my collection is Rolex/Omega based, with the exception of a Reverso. Okay, sounds like a great collection actually. Is that wrong that I find other brands less interesting? No, I mean there's no wrong. There's no wrong. Doesn't exist. You can get whatever you want. Collect Casios if you want. There's no wrong. There's no such thing as wrong in the watch world, man. And certainly not if you're Rolex, Omega, and JLC. You're really on the right track there. Not as nice a day this time. Kind of foggy, overcast, as you guys can see. But I'm headed over to a totally different side of the city called the Giardini Biennale area. Which is gonna be like over there past San Giorgio. That's San Giorgio there, beautiful church by Andrea Palladio. amazing the effect a little bad weather can have. I mean, this area is spectacular. It's so beautiful. Has one of the most picturesque views of the city. You've seen it at the end of a lot of my videos. I kind of save it for the end. The sun setting over Venice and the watch in the foreground, of course. But right now it just so grey. Zach Alcensor. Hello from Charlotte, North Carolina. I like Charlotte. I was there, played at a festival there years ago, a couple of times I think. Big metal rock festival. It was cool. Some cool bands. Your content is some of the most stunning work on you. Okay, I can't read the I can't read a mad compliment like this. It's so syrupy, me reading my own. Let me go, Pat. Thank you for your kind words, but I can't. I feel like such a dick just reading that. First, pleasure enjoying your videos combining your passions for architecture, history, music, cinema, cuisine, and of course watches. I'd be curious to hear a little more about your influences in this medium. What are a few of your cinematic and or documentary favorites from the last 40 years? I mean, how long do we have? But yes, I mean, I like all the stuff everyone else likes. I like Kubrick and I like Scorsese and I like all of that good stuff. Documentary wise, I mean, anything from the BBC, right? Anything the BBC do. You know, that new the Planet Earth stuff, you know, with David Attenborough. I mean, it's just the holy grail of, I mean, the camera work and the soundtracks, and it's just unbelievable. A lot of people loved Bourdain, Anthony Bourdain. I thought he was pretty good, but my favorite of those kind of, you know, going around the world kind of documentaries are the Michael Palin ones, the guy from Monty Python. If you're British, you know exactly the shows I'm talking about. If you're American or from anywhere else, you should go look for them. I'm sure you'll find lots of them on YouTube. Just magnificently shot and written, incredible adventures. He did the full circle, doing the Pacific Rim. He did pole to pole, going from North Pole to South Pole, I believe. Or was it the other way? Amazing. This Herculean level stuff. And all of that stuff is a big influence for me. I mean, I'm speaking like I'm some sort of bloody filmmaker. I'm not. I'm a musician. I tinker, guys. I tinker around with my camera. My daughter's a more serious kind of film, video person. She's studying this stuff. And you can tell on my videos, when it goes to her shots, they just have that cinematic edge. I'm in the garden here. I mean, there's no one here, obviously. So it's all right to have the mask down. So you've got like swings and, you know, kids. What do you call them? You know, a little kid park area there with swings and so on, ladders and things, slides. And then you have, you know, this guy. You know, how many like kids play parks have that in them? There's another one over there missing its head. Lee Bertles, or is it Bertlet? Is it French? I don't know. What are your thoughts on 5-digit Rolex references? Have you ever owned one, or are you a 6-digit guy? I do. I own one. You obviously haven't watched all my stuff. How dare you? No. I have the 16610LN from 2010, V serial number. And I did a whole video on why it's better than the 1166 10 LN, comparing the two and showing why it's more elegant and all of that. Of course, it doesn't have the glide lock clasp, but if it did, it would be an absolute no-brainer. Phil Apodaca. Hello, my friend. I'm loving the channel. Thanks, man. I recently purchased a Bell & Ross BR 0392 Golden Heritage at a really great price new. Congratulations. At first I was a little put off by the square case. Okay. But it has now grown on me. You were put off, but I mean, that's what they are. That's everything about them. That's weird. Especially with tons of options out there on different straps. That's true. A Bell & Ross is quite like a Panerai. It's all about getting the watch head and then having lots of fun with different straps. Have you an opinion on this very affordable watch? And can you recommend a great strap option? I can't recommend a great strap option for it because I don't like Bell & Ross myself. Personally, it's just a personal thing. I'm not right. It's just, you know, everyone has an opinion and taste, their own taste. What do I think of Bell & Ross? Look, they're good. I'm not the biggest fan, so I find them to be kind of on that side of kind of industrial, crazy looking that many watches can go for, and they kind of left behind the elegant. But then you have a Golden Heritage, did you say? I'm not that familiar with all these different models, but yeah. Look, I'm sure it's a great watch. I mean, if you're hoping I'll compliment your watch so you can feel better about it, I find quite often people want to just hear that they did the right thing and bought the right watch. If you like the watch, it's the right watch. That's it. DSP Omega 6, non-watch related. Okay. You have mentioned in early videos that you do music production. What sort of music have you been producing recently? Well, lately I haven't been doing a whole lot. I was just doing some string arrangements there for my buddy Steve. He was producing some singer down in Rome and he needed some strings. Doing a little production on a girl who's out of San Diego. She's in New York, she's in Brooklyn, and helping her with that. But I mean, I haven't done a large project in a while. Last year I had to do that Tomorrowland dance festival thing, you know that thing? It's like there's one in Belgium and there's one in Houston, I think, and it's a huge dance festival and they need these kind of dramatic intros. It's just a DJ there acting like an idiot, but it's packed. Like this audience is like it's Woodstock or something. Like you're just looking at a guy. There's no one playing. What the hell? What's happening to the world? But they need these big drama intros that, you know, they need, like, has to sound like Hans Zimmer, you know, the Batman movies or something, you know, Inception, you know, do. So they wanted this kind of 2-minute intro thing to build up, so I had to do a few of those. That was fun. Channeling my inner Hans Zimmer. But yeah, haven't been doing a whole lot in the music thing. I finished a large project last year, very big one, of a singer from South America. That was a great big project, and that took a lot out of me. And I kind of just, when that finished, I was wondering what I was going to do, and that's kind of when I started the channel, not long after that. This is from Franco Sabalones. Simple question: how did you get started, and what do you find most gratifying about creating content on YouTube? Well, I mean, how did I get started? I mean, you just get started. You start making a video and you upload. I mean, you could do it with a cell phone, with an iPhone or something, anything with a camera, and you can make a video. It may not be very good. That's the next question. But actually just doing it that's not the hard part. Although I've noticed for a lot of people it is. Just getting up off their feet and making the video and getting that first one uploaded. YouTube is an odd creature. I mean, it's weird. I'm treating YouTube like it's network television, the BBC or something, but it's not. YouTube is I'm very much a fish out of water. If you want to do well on YouTube, don't do what I do. YouTube likes formulaic. Same thing over and over again. Just repeat it with slightly new content. Quick, fast stuff. No time to think, no time to breathe. Everything's like and those close-ups, the pushbacks and zoom outs and I don't know. I mean, sometimes I dabble with that stuff. It's kind of fun, I guess, but yeah. I think if I just did episodes with Lenny, my alter ego Lenny, and I just did one every week, every Friday, a funny one with Lenny telling everyone they're idiots, telling me I'm an idiot, I think the channel would be way bigger. Because people would be just like, oh, more Lenny. My mistake, if you could call it, I don't feel like it's a mistake. I make whatever the hell I want. I don't give a shit. And I don't hound people, to subscribe and like, and I don't engage in any of that crap. But if there is any mistake, let me show you what I'm looking at. That's nice. Amazing to see this in Venice. If there is anything that I'm doing wrong as far as channel growth, it's that I mix things up. I do a lot of different stuff. I do Lenny. I haven't done Lenny in a while. I'll do him soon. I do a travel thing. I go to a city, I show people churches, and and then I do an unboxing, and it's all it's a big salad of stuff. Don't do that. If you're going to start a YouTube channel, maybe you are, maybe that's why you were asking me that question. There's a little cafe here. Awesome. Look at that, beautiful. Yeah, don't just do this. Like, think of, I love his channel, no offense, Jody on Just One More Watch. Amazing channel, great guy, funny guy, very informative. But you could stack his episodes on top of one another like plates. They're all the same length, the same formula, the same exact thing, but a different watch every time. That's what YouTube likes. I mean, I say YouTube, that's what people who watch YouTube like. It's not YouTube's fault, it's the people's fault. There isn't much room for variety. I'll put it to you this way, like when I do Lenny, a lot of you guys go, oh, that's great, more of that. And some of you guys hate him. You're like, oh, this is so lowbrow, this is so silly, you're above this, you do cultural stuff, you do blah blah blah. Actually, Lenny has there's a deeper side to what I'm doing there with Lenny. If you take a look at it, why Lenny is there, what he's trying to say. But so the folks who love Lenny, they're probably coming back to the channel saying, oh, where's more of that? People want more of the same. So a lot of them are probably just like losing interest. And then the people who don't like him might say, the opposite. Oh, I was hoping for another beautiful video with classical music. Instead, I got this you know, farce or whatever you might want to call it. So if you're doing the YouTube thing, if that's what you're interested in, and you want to be big, you see, that's the thing about me, like, it's nice to get followers, it's nice to have people subscribe and support the channel and all. That's very encouraging, very cool. But I'm not gonna, I think some people, that's all they're about, you know. More subs, more subs. You're getting the cart before the horse, I think. But it's working for a lot of people. They look at their analytics and see where people stopped watching the video, you know, and they don't make that mistake again. And then I'm like, Jesus. It's like being in a band and like, oh, you like that song? Okay, we'll write more like that one. What are you, a jester? I don't know. Okay, some questions came in in the YouTube community. Wonder of Watches, how are you doing, man? Great channel. I love your channel, dude. It's great, so lighthearted. You know, your channel reminds me, every time I watch it, it reminds me that this is a hobby. You know, people can forget that. They take this stuff so seriously sometimes. This is a hobby, guys. We're supposed to have fun. And your channel reminds me of that. Anyway, what question do you have? Will Paul Thorpe ever pronounce your first name correctly? Probably not, but that's okay. I love the guy anyway. He's an absolute sweetheart and one of the great resources on YouTube as well. You know, I mean, who else is really giving all that info from behind the curtain, as it were? Roman Scharf, maybe. Will he pronounce it? It's a weird name, man. I'm used to it. R and W book reviews. Also an explanation of the art behind you and your pieces in general. What do you mean pieces? Like my watches? Or do you mean my videos? Book reviews. I'm reading a book that I've been reading over and over again for the past while that I absolutely love. It's by Ryan North, called How to Invent Everything. It's absolutely amazing. This is the coolest thing ever. Look, it's a fruit and vegetable stand on a boat. They're finished for the day, obviously. It's a little floating store, and you stand there and pick what you want, and they hand it over to you. Looks like something out of Vietnam or something, right? Alright, another question. I got some groceries, some fruit and veg and stuff. So cheap. I got like a stack of stuff for Christmas. I'm doing a turkey, so I got all the carrots and the onions and all the celery and prezzemolo, how do you say that? Parsley. And the whole thing just came to $7. Couldn't believe it. RMA 432. We all know you love watches, music and wine, but what are some of your other favorite pastimes or hobbies? Tons. Like, I'm a big geek, computer geek. You know, I like building computers. All the stuff on the channel is edited on a Hackintosh that I built. I built hundreds of computers. I'm a big science nerd. I love aviation. When I get on an aircraft to take a flight, I know what equipment I'm sitting on. I quite often know the runway we're taking off on because I hate to admit it, but I actually enjoy flight simulator games. If you're into flight sims, those have taken a whole new shape now with virtual reality VR put on a headset and you're in the cockpit. Wonderful, thrilling. I would have loved to be a pilot. And yeah, what else? I mean, travel as well. I mean, I'm a big foodie. It's not just wine. I like fine dining. I like fine dining restaurants. I love hotels. I'm always reading up about the best hotels in the world and stuff. And if I'm in some city, I like to at least have a drink at the bar there if I can't afford to stay there. Samson Chan, are you married? Nope. Nope, I am not. Spanish John, Trump or Biden? You're trying to get me into trouble, aren't you? I'm not even going to answer that. Why upset half my audience, you know? It's unnecessary. So I think I already did when I did the Trump versus Biden watches video. It's supposed to be only about watches, but everybody got, well, about half the people got quite irate. Dusan Ilyek, Torino or Milano, which would be your choice? I think between those two, Torino. Torino used to be the capital of Italy before Rome, and it's magnificent. And Milan is a very built-up industrial town. It looks like any urban sprawl you've ever seen in your life. There are some nice spots, obviously, the Piazza Duomo, all of that, but Torino. Also, Torino is very, very close to Piemonte, to the Langhe area where they make Barolo, so it would be very timid. It'd be like living in San Francisco or Oakland and having that short drive into Napa or Sonoma. I'd do it every weekend. I don't know who's asking this. I cut it off. Sorry. Limited edition watches, like them or loathe them? I like them when they are limited. You know, the problem, sometimes Omega have some serious cheek, man. They say limited edition, limited to 7,000 pieces. What? Are you joking? That's not limited. That's as many as you would have ever sold. As long as they're limited. You know, those Zero S watches. I did the video on there recently. The Spitfire. That S4, there's only 80 of them. And the Longitude, the more fancy, classic looking one, only 20. You'll literally never bump into another person with the same watch. And if you do, you have to have a drink and chat about it. That's limited edition. FL says, cool logo. Can you put that on a t-shirt? Yes, I am. I'm going to make TTWC t-shirts, caps, and maybe, I don't know, a mug or a pen or something. Let me know what you just think. Shoot a comment below. I love when YouTubers say that. But what do you think? Leave a comment in the comments below. It's so disingenuous and such bullshit. Would you buy, this is from Earl. Hey Earl. Would you buy a Rolex Daytona 116520 without box and papers? God, it would have to be really discounted. It's a fairly new watch. Where the hell is the box? Where the hell are the papers? It's one thing if you buy one from 20 years ago or something and you say, okay, look, it's easy to lose those things. But especially in the climate that we have now, I don't think anyone's going to accidentally lose the box of papers. I mean, it's always possible, I suppose, but I'd like to hear a very good explanation as to where the box of papers are before I took the plunge. Or sell it to me at stupidly low price and what the hell, put it on your wrist. Joe Shanghai. Who would you think would win in a fight, Paul or Adrian? No weapons. So I assume you mean Paul Thorpe versus Adrian Barker. Oh, I think Paul would take me and Adrian out with one hand tied behind his back. I wouldn't mess with that dude. I mean, he's a sweetheart and all, but and from what I hear, he's a tall fella. I've never met him in person, but I think he's quite tall. Which is your favorite city in Italy? You're looking at it, my friend. What's your name again? Hobby Apple. You're looking at it. Venezia. There's nowhere like it in the world. Show me a city that looks like this place and works the same way. It doesn't exist. I haven't seen a car in months. It's awesome. What vino are you drinking today? From Dean T. I've been drinking for the past few days. I discovered a new Etna Rosso. So red from Etna, the volcano in Sicily. And what happens, you know, vines grow best on slopes, because then when it rains, it gives enough water to the vine, just enough. You don't want to overfeed the vine. It'll make the vine lazy, and you'll wind up with very big, plump, flavorless berries. You want the vine to fight for everything it can get. It creates more character in the berries, the vigor of the vine, as they say. So on slopes, what happens is the rain comes in, but then it continues past, and it doesn't soak the ground. It just kind of dampens it for a moment. So of course, a volcano, of course, has that natural slope, and it has all of that volcanic ash and so on in the ground. So you wind up getting, from Etna, you wind up getting something that no other Italian wines have, and that's minerality. Probably the most controversial word in viticulture. Does it really exist? Is minerality a thing or not? Well, anybody who likes French wine, Bordeaux, Burgundy, will say absolutely yes. It's a beautiful thing. You get that smell of like lead pencil, or that kind of slight taste and aroma of wet rocks. So it's a wonderful thing, and it's very hard. The Italian wines don't normally have that, but you will find it in the Etna Rosso. So the one I've been drinking is the Donna Fugata. Check it out, Etna Rosso, spectacular. Very cold day, but very beautiful at the same time, kind of crisp. It was very clear earlier. Now there's this kind of drifting high stratus up there, just obscuring the sun, turning it into a Turner painting. J Hags is asking, in your opinion, why doesn't Rolex increase production of popular steel sports watches? Oh my god, the age-old question. Yeah, like, why don't they just stop making Cellinis and ladies day just whatever else, and just make plain old watches like this? Well, I don't think they really care. I think they do. They decide that they're going to make so many, and that's that. Also, I think that I think those models sell out faster because they're cheaper and they're more universal. It's a different kind of guy who can spend 8,000-9,000 than a guy who can spend 50 or 60, get a platinum Daytona or something. They're just different people. One has so much more money than the other guy, and you know, it's a very popular brand. It's a very large planet. There's a lot of ADs. There's a lot of models in their catalog. They make a lot of watches. They just sell out. And that's that. Lee Harding is asking, what band were you in? And can I have your BB58? As it's too small for you. It is too small for me. Most watches are too small for me. Some might say this watch, even the new 41mm version, is a little too small on me. The band's name is Mr. North, or was Mr. North. spelt M-R North. Michael, not watch related, but I'm a little curious. Why did Mr. North split up? The singer left the band. Simple as that. No ifs or buts about it. It's hard to continue without the head of your of the anatomy. Not that he was the head of the band. I don't know. I'm not sure if there was a head of the band. If there was, it was probably me. But yeah, without the voice. Although a lot of bands have done it. They've picked themselves up. Marillion did it miraculously. Genesis did it. My God, Genesis made more hits and so on after Peter Gabriel left. Phil Collins came out from behind the drum kit and started singing. It works for some bands. Hell, Van Halen did it. You know, they kicked their lead singer out and got a whole new guy with a totally different voice. It's hard to imagine, but some bands are able to imagine it. You know, it's hard to think of going on. Also, I don't think the other guys in the band really wanted to go looking for a new singer. I'd considered it for a while, but in the end, it was. We did one show with a bunch of different female singers, amazing singers, based in New York. It's out there on YouTube. You'll find it. Vivian Sessoms, she was unbelievable, and Amanda Daviner, very, very powerful voice. FCO Barrios 19, I love your shades. Who makes them? These are Armani. They're not amazing shades, they just happen to suit my big old head. Little Markham. How do we make Omega #1 in 2021? Yeah, wouldn't it be great? I've such a soft spot for them. And I recently went into the Omega boutique and I had no idea, but the guys in there were fans of the channel and they gave me champagne and everything was great. And I was looking at that James Bond 007 thing, the Seamaster, it was gorgeous, and the Aquaterra with the green dial. Jonathan Smith, the artistry of your channel is by far the best. Oh, that's nice, thanks man. What area of New York City did you live in? And Dublin also. I lived all over New York City. I was in Manhattan, different parts of Manhattan over the years. I moved a lot. I was in Brooklyn. I started in Queens, in Long Island City. I even spent some time out in Hoboken. Brooklyn would probably be my favorite borough. I spend zero time in the Bronx and zero time in the horrific beast that is Staten Island. Dublin, a Northsider, man. North side of Dublin. I'm a Northsider. I know I don't quite have that accent. Somebody was guessing at one of my videos in the comments. They're like, "Oh, you sound like you're from the South Side." No, I've never said, "Hey George, would you like to go for a pint?" I don't have that kind of accent, but I certainly don't have that kind of Dublin accent either. I don't know how I ended up with this accent. Probably just moving around too much. What watches were you wearing during your gigging days? I normally wasn't. I had a watch in some of those photos. I noticed I had a watch on. I have no idea what it was. No recollection. Diego Yu. Love the channel, man. Thanks, Diego. Not exactly watch related. It's fine. But definitely style related. What's your personal definition of manliness? Manliness. Well, it's about character, right? It's not about what you're wearing. It's about your character. I think you've got to underdo it though in style rather than overdo it. It's one of the reasons I don't like big silly watches. I always find the quiet man is less to prove. It's a bit more manly. But manliness comes from within. I think a certain sense of responsibility, for example, defines manliness, I think. Accountability and responsibility. Being dependable, you know. I hope I got through enough of the questions, guys. There's a lot of stuff. New reviews coming up soon, of course. As soon as I can travel, yes, more travel videos. I really enjoy doing those. Yes, the Interstellar video will be finished. Just piling on. I feel like, you know, the scenes in the movie when they come in, they drop a pile of paperwork in the guy's desk and he just looks at it. Anyway, It's really, really cold. I'm gonna go home, cook some dinner, settle in for the evening, give you one last shot of what's around me here. It's quite miraculous, quite beautiful. I love when the light just kind of makes just the silhouettes of the buildings. You can't see the detail anymore. They're outlines. It's quite nice. And that's it for now, guys. I don't want to hear any more complaints about the mask. I've been staying away from people. Whenever I do this, I make sure I'm nice and far away. I respect the mask thing. I think everyone should. So none of the lectures. I'm just trying to make a video here, guys. Lay off. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope that one wasn't too long, although it probably will be. I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.